Alright, y'all, what's happening? It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, and I am here with my review for the full season of Miss Marvel on Disney+. Now, if you have not seen this yet, come on back, because it will be spoilers. This is a little bit later in the day after the 6th episode is aired. I've been busy all day and been doing so much, so I couldn't get to this immediately like I wanted to. But my God, this season culminated excellently. If you follow me on social media, namely on Twitter, like you should be doing, at Mr. J. Washington, I have praised this show from jump. When I got to see the first 2 episodes back in May, I talked about how, for me, it was like an MCU Nickelodeon type show, somewhat in the vein of a Scott Pilgrim, but it was just dope. It was rocking with me. I also had a personal connection because I got 2 friends in it. Shouts out to Trevina Springer, who plays Taisha the sister, and my buddy Azar Usman, who plays Najim, who owns the Gyro trucks. But the story was done so well. The introduction of Kamala Khan, the introduction of the culture that Kamala comes from. Many of us have, heard of the Pakistani Hindu Muslim culture in a variety of ways, and we learned so much. We learned about India. You learn about the partition with the British colonization and the separation from there. You got to see the beauty of the city Karachi. You got to watch what many, if you've ever had an Indian or Pakistan, Middle Eastern female friend, you would always hear about how their mothers are overprotective, how the fathers can be as well, how the brothers are a certain way, and you get all of that played out throughout this series. We're watching a teenage girl go through life, then find out she has superpowers. And a lot of people initially, too, when this show was announced and the way that Kamala's power set was going to be, a lot of people were upset that we weren't going to see the stretching and the embiggening and all that, because, of course, everybody was like, oh, why do they have to just wait for Reed Richards to do it? They can do it for 2 different ones. And then when we saw the light power, the way she started using it, the way the bangle opened that up, a lot of people were like, okay, I'm kind of getting it. But I say this again, and I've said this, and I will say this in numerous MCU reviews primarily, because it's mainly MCU fans, and I myself am an MCU fan. We got to let go our sense of entitlement, as if we're entitled to things to go the way we want them to go, how we think they should go, what we assume they should do. At the end of the day, many of us are fans of these properties, have been fans of the comic books. Some people are just getting to learn about these characters. But they are not our stories to tell. They are those of Marvel Studios, its president, head executive producers, directors, writers. It's their story to tell. Now, we are not obligated by any means to like their story they want to tell, but we have that choice, but it's still their story to tell. And the way they told the story of Kamala's great-grandmother, coming through partition, her grandmother being separated and all these things, and then to find out the backstory of Kamala actually being the one to help, and seeing how her great-grandmother fell in love with her great-grandfather, and, the clandestine, which are a part of Marvel, to see them and how that played out. And again, we don't know 100-fold if that is or is not a Kree. Remember, there's a blue arm that we see in one of the episodes. Again, I said spoiler alert. To see all these different things, and it built up a great story. To get to where we got in the finale. Well, actually, let's go to the penultimate episode, where we see that the clandestine is trying to finally open the veil and to be able to make the veil live on top of our world. And I said it, I think it was in either my Moon Knight review or my Thor Love and Thunder, we're seeing the cosmic elements of the MCU, and by that, the other realms, the other dimensions and whatnot. Of course, we were introduced to the Dark Dimension. We've been introduced to the Shadow Realm now. We've been introduced to the Quantum Realm. We've been introduced to the Ancestral Plane. We've been introduced to, I forgot what the name of it directly was in Moon Knight, please forgive me. But all these different levels, and the veil is a plane of existence within itself. Also to find out that to help enhance the story of Kamala Khan and her family, she's an offshoot of the Jinn, the legendary genies. Now, if you've ever read any other details and seen certain films, it tells you that the genie is not just Barbara Eden and Robin Williams. The Jinn were supposedly these vile, evil creatures. And it's mentioned in like the first couple of episodes of Miss Marvel. Iman Vellani is phenomenal in this role. She was born to play this role. Hell, it is amazing that I think it was 2-3 years ago, before she was even cast, she was cosplaying as Miss Marvel, and now she is Miss Marvel. To see the way in the season finale, her community rallied behind her, namely her parents, after her mom finds out in the previous episode, and who she is. The support system she has been everything. Seeing the religious aspect of it, them being in the mosque and whatnot, her relationship with Nakia, her relationship with Bruno, Kamala's. Am I the only one that realized that Bruno kind of loves Kamala, but he doesn't know how to tell her? And him not being able to tell her whether she's reciprocates it or not is a fault of his. Because remember, there's a point where she started falling for Cameron. Now, Cameron is Muslim as well, so you would always think, oh, they're going to do the way that she has to be with her own kind. But Bruno's always been there for her, and he's loved her more than just a friend. He loves her with a passion, which is kind of why he finally makes that decision to go to Caltech, we discovered. Well, he doesn't say it, but you could tell it's kind of why. But also, I just love the fact how these characters are such a support system where they're strong as well. Her, again, Nakia, Bruno, even Zoe, as we get back to her, these characters don't have superpowers within themselves, but they all possess a power. Nakia with her voice, her strength, her leadership abilities, her wanting to be one of the first women on the board of her mosque, her speaking for women's rights and advocating for that. Bruno in his intellect and his science and his smarts and how he helps to figure out different things. Before which Cameron doesn't have powers, but he gains it from his mom at the end of episode 5 when she tries to go through the veil. And there has been many things said about when she goes through the veil, what comes out of her. Is it her essence? Is it her abilities? Whatever the case, and it goes into Cameron and gives him abilities. But overall, those characters are super strong and super supportive throughout the way. Not even just mention her family. Kamala's relationship with her mother is so beautiful, and to watch it be strained as a mother and a teenager, who was growing up, who's trying to live her life, and the mother is overprotective. She's scared to lose her, and things she's heard from her mother. I think this resonated with me the most because I'm having a little back and forth with my son, my 18-year-old son. He's going through some things, and as a father, I'm trying to be protective and trying to be there for him, and also he's a grown man. But also I realize he's me. And so to see these parental-child dynamics play out the way they have, it's been a great thing for me. Even when, episode 1, when she tries to go to Avenger Con and we see, her dad wants to be the Hulk and dressed up in Pakistani garb, and she just says it's embarrassing, and it just crushes him. That support throughout Kamala's whole tenure in this so far has been amazing. Because no matter what, there has been a support system to when she meets the Red Daggers in Karachi and whatnot. But I'll tell you about the biggest swerve for me. I don't know about how y'all feel. When I thought it was okay, cool. The villain is Najma and the clandestine, and they go through everything. And again, what happens in the penultimate episode where they try to go through the veil and they're evaporated. And then Najma goes and she dies and her essence goes to Cameron. I was like, oh shit, the clandestine aren't the bad guys? And then you see Cameron, after he receives this boost, he don't know what's going to happen. He reaches out to Bruno and fucking damage control comes. And you're like, holy shit, the real villain of Miss Marvel is the government. And more so, a racist agent in Deaver. But here's the question. Deaver is so hell-bent, high-strung, and looking for enhanced individuals. Do you think Deaver's a Skrull? I say that because she works with damage control. And in the finale, she is given an order to not to try to attack or capture Cameron and Kamala, because they're in their high school, Zoe has streamed out to her infinite number of followers, and like she's given a direct order, and then she just disregards that and sends the people in, and then the team she sends in has these sonic weapons and whatnot, the non-lethal version. I was like, yo, there could be something else about her. I don't think it's just that she's just a regular agent, just a racist ass agent to brown people, because even the way she infiltrates the mosque when they were like, yo, you've been here numerous times, we know how this goes. She's like, I need to see IDs on everybody, and everybody pulls their IDs out because they've been profiled so many times. And the thing is, some people who watch this, and probably the people who didn't watch this, who should have watched this, don't understand. That's what many brown and black people go through still to this day. You've been profiled and harassed so much, you know the procedure, you know what to do, you know how to handle these moments. You're tired of it, absolutely. And seeing that was like, okay. To finally see Kamala taking some of the lessons from Waleed that she learned in Karachi when she was training with the Red Daggers, and finally learning how to embiggen herself, even with her nur, her power. We got the stretch. We got the embiggening that people wanted, and you just had to wait for it. I think that is a great lesson. When you just wait for it, when you're just patient and let it play out, you're going to get what you want. And we got that. Now, Belial and Adil, they were the directors of the first 2 episodes and the season finale. And a lot of people ask, well, why weren't they the directors of the whole thing? You got to remember, these are the directors of Batgirl. So they've trying, they got a multitask right now. They're doing a movie on top of doing this. So they got, I can see why they weren't able to do all 6 episodes. But, man, the 3 they gave us, out the mwah, chef's kiss. But you get the embiggening, right? Everything. Then there's so much. You see that in the beginning, in the first episode, Kamala has a charm on that is her name, Kamala, in Arabic. And in episode 5, when fighting the clandestine, her chain breaks and it stretches, and it is the logo that we see on her costume, which we also know that in the comics isn't a tribute to the original Miss Marvel, whose costume is that way, right? Her mom gets the costume made with that, but also one of the greatest things you find out, and I don't think many of us who are unfamiliar with the culture knew how she got her name. After everything happens, her parents know she's at home. Kamala's at home on the roof, looking outside, and her father sits, and her father breaks down what her name means. He said, the reason we tried to have another child for years after your brother was born, and couldn't, and you came, and then we named you Kamal. We were going to name you Kamal, but we named Kamala, because you're a girl, but it means wonder, marvel. And of course, Kamala Khan is the biggest fan of Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. She's like, my name basically means the same as Carol freaking Danvers. And she realized her name. She's like, yes. And her dad said, you're my little Miss Marvel. And it was beautiful. Because then also, again, we've seen, and we see various TikToks and everything. Her community is rallying behind her, supporting her. Because remember, one of the things you saw in the trailer, one of the big things about this show, she always says, it's not brown girls like me from Jersey who save people. And yet she is that one. And we were introduced to an entirely new culture. We got the origin story of a hero that is such a heartwarming story that pays off in so many ways. Because not only that, when, of course, Bruno would be in Scientific trying to figure out how her powers come to be. She has this energy, the noir, the bangle that seemed to unlock it, all these things. Bruno tells her, there's something else. I was doing tests on your brother's DNA because he wanted to see if he had powers and something about you. And your DNA, there's a mutation. And the 97 X-Men theme playing, everybody, myself included, was, oh, Jesus, thank you, God. Later to introduce the mutants officially. And I say that because I believe now, because I know in the comics, Kamala Khan is an Inhuman. But I believe Marvel said, we're going to make it so much easier. We're going to make Inhumans and mutants one and the same. And I know people are going to be like, what about the Terrigen Mist and all this? And they're going to probably play some level of it. But it works. Because you can still bring in Quake. You can still do these amazing, beautiful things. It's like, oh my God, she's a mutant. And now we'll hear the word mutations every now and then. We've been waiting to hear that word. Remember, we finally heard Inhuman in Doctor Strange, but now we hear mutations. I know everybody was like, oh my God, but it's cool. Again, everything played out. And then at the end, Kamala's bangle starts, at the very end post credit scene, Kamala's bangle is illuminating. She doesn't know what happened. All of a sudden, she swaps out and swaps Carol Danvers, Brie Larson. And she just looks around like, oh no, why am I in this room? What's going on? Miss Marvel will return to Marvels. Perfect way to segue into that film. Those 6 episodes, the story, the arc, the build up to who she is, who she wants to be, how she becomes who she is, the way her costume isn't just her made it. Her mom had it made in Pakistan and shipped to her because her mother believes in her. And it was in a toffee box too, like her mom sent. So I'm assuming her Nani sent it to her, or Nani had somebody done because it's sent in a toffee box. Like everything Nani was sending to her mom, Muniba. It is beautiful. Again, a lot of people have been rearranging and organizing their list of top Marvel shows every time a new one comes out. And of course, it's going to continually shift around. And also, we're in this phase 4. People are saying, oh, I don't know where this is going. Marvel doesn't know what it's doing. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. I don't know this. It's not doing this. It's not doing that. It's not doing this. It's not doing that. We have to stop. We have to stop as fans. We have to stop expecting they have to tell us stuff right away. We got spoiled with the Infinity Saga. After Avengers Age of Ultron, we knew what was going to happen. We knew Thanos was coming. So then we knew everything we saw was building up to Thanos, to the big battle, to the fight in Wakanda and Infinity War, to the giant culmination to finally get Avengers Assemble and Endgame. And now phase 4, all these different things are the effects of that in different parts of life. And yes, you have worldly level heroes, and now you have these outworldly level heroes, and they're all the places, and you're like, wait, it seems like it's scattered all over the place. But you got to remember, in the Marvel Comics universe, things are happening everywhere at the same time also. So why shouldn't the MCU go the same way if it wants to? We already know we're getting a Thunderbolts I think it's a film. So we know we're getting something with U.S. Agent, Baron Zemo, we're getting Sharon Carter, Yelena Belova, and whatnot. But then we got all this mystical, magical stuff happening. Even her father says magic. Getting all this magic stuff happening. Moon Knight, Eternals, Thor, Love and Thunder with the gods, with the arrival of Hercules. All these different things are happening. We don't know what it's all leading to. Of course not. They haven't told us. But I think, again, just like watching this series, from the beginning going, yo, how they're not doing her stretching abilities. That's what makes her thing. So what are they doing? The Fantastic Four let her stretch. But it paid off for our patience. We sat through it. And yes, Marvel has had us sitting through so much for so long because we've taken this ride. Enjoy the ride. Again, at the end of the day, everything I just said to y'all, my love of this series is my opinion. I can't make you think another way. Yeah, if some of you, I feel, that's fine. It's fine. But guess what? None of us are right or wrong. Because we're all going to believe we're right in how we feel. And we might believe other people are wrong in how they feel. It's not going to matter. Because again, it's not my story to tell. I'm not Kevin Feige. Unfortunately, I'm not working in the Marvel office. I'm not sitting there going on the Marvel retreat where we're planning out 5-10 years of things. And when I'm helping to recruit directors and showrunners, this is what we need to happen. So many different things are going in so many different directions. And does it always have to equal and culminate into one gigantic battle? No. Is everything going to culminate into a giant Avengers Endgame where you had to bring all these characters from all these films together and TV shows? No, probably not. But there is a possibility too, because now we know that for some reason, and somehow, some way, I'm not really sure how they're going to do it, the Sony universe can cross over, maybe. We don't know, but that's a whole nother story, and I don't feel like smoking weed to figure that out. But we could be getting a giant Secret Wars thing with Madam Web and all this, but then again, they may be doing Madam Web on some other way, and Madam Web is a dominatrix at this fucking rate with Sony. But I'm just going to go along for the ride and see what happens. We all know wasn't nobody rocking with Morbin time. And I'm skeptical as hell about Craven. But I still want to take the ride. Just like I'm taking the ride with the MCU. At the end of the day, that's what I think. I want to know your comments down below, all right? Like this video, share it, click on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, man. I'm trying to keep this going for y'all. Check out some of the other reviews I've done here on the channel, from movie reviews, Thor Love and Thunder, RRR, my Moon Knight review is there. I got to put up the boys review and so much more, but I need you to be there rocking with me, all right? Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok until they finally ban me, at Mr. J Washington, MR. Why? Because people keep getting all in their feelings and shit, and every time I put up something, I'm like, yo, I can put up something that is a video that I'm commenting on in a comedic commentary, and somebody else can have it, and they're a non-black creator, and y'all cool, but black creators put it up and you flagging them. But I digress. MRJAY, you should know how to spell watch tonight. I will holler at y'all later. Till then, if you want to support, please, Cash App, Venmo, all the information is in the description down below. Thank you so much. I'm blessed to be here with you all, and you all are blessed to me. I holla. Now, bye.